since talking about New Year's Eve, since talking about celebrations, I thought we'd start with a little happy story here. A little happy go-getting story to start things off. So, Whitney Cummings, comedian extraordinaire, went on to CNN's New Year's Eve celebration, which I know it sounds crazy to think CNN, a cable news outlet, going to watch New Year's Eve celebrations. That's kind of crazy. I thought it's crazy at first, but then you realize that CNN has like Kathy Griffith on, or now Whitney Cummings, and has a bit of comedians, and it's a cable outlet, so they're drinking and they get to say things that you can't say on regular broadcasts. So it kind of gets interesting when you're watching CNN on New Year's Eve. It was definitely better than the CBC stream that they have. Holy crap. So Whitney Cummings said this: I had a super long list of things the mainstream media won't cover, but only included ones I super duper was able to fact check. Thanks for everyone on X who sent me some when I asked to post on yesterday. So she was doing some crowd work on X, I think, to ask what kind of jokes you want to hear on New Year's Eve. And she got a few out there. So listen to some of the comments that she said on New Year's Eve with Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen. So listen to this.
Let me be clear, though. 2024 was not only negative. The media wants us to believe this country is so divided, but we actually came together a lot this year. Like, as a nation, we unanimously agreed that we would rather see J-Lo in a toxic relationship than in concert. We all agreed the government totally knows what drones are and aren't telling us. The drones are still up there, and we have no idea what's behind them. No idea. I mean, they're still up in the sky, so I guess we can rule out that they were made by Boeing. The point is, I think we all agree on a lot of things. And since I only have a minute left live on establishment media, why don't we just say a bunch of things that we know that they'll never cover? Okay, ready, go. Trump shooter didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird? Okay, are we still rolling? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia put money into Disney, so just know there won't be any girl characters in the next Cars movie. Are we still rolling? This is wild. Why have so many presidents' chefs died? Weird. Boy Scout of America, they renamed itself Scouting America. You know who else changed their name? Sean Combs. Just saying. Let's learn something in 2025. I can't believe you guys are still letting me go. This is amazing. I love CNN. Please stop me, Andy, because I will just keep going. Happy.
So that was some of the highlights there, and she had some good ones. Here's another take of this. Here's some more.
2024 election fried our brains. The Democrats couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright. Are we still rolling? Am I off?
Go for it.
It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's... Oh, God. Andy just gave me a very scary look.
No!
So that was a short clip there. That was a funny one. Kamala Harris shoved down, probably patented by Pfizer, Moderna. So she had some good material, and that's, I give credit to CNN for having that on New Year's Eve, even though it is a blatant just disregard for a news network. At least there was something a little interesting for New Year's Eve celebration. And Benny Johnson commented on this. So she had a role. Whitney Cummings had an entire setup. It was actually beautiful to see her comedy on CNN actually, doing shots at, the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris and all the lies that CNN would try to cover up, and Anderson Cooper staying there going like, huh? I don't understand any of this stuff. So Benny Johnson tweets this out, say, Whitney Cummings takes a shot at CNN. I'm now playing for 3,000 person shows, which is about the average viewership of CNN these days. You want to listen? Take a look.
I love going around the country because you see that Americans really are more reasonable than they would be portrayed. They're pretty great, and I'm playing bigger and bigger venues now. I thought being a mom would mean that less people will want to come see me. I'm now playing, like 3,000 seat theaters, which is about the viewership of CNN these days.
Well,
Not this show, though.
Nice.
All eyes are on this show.
Wow, you're all firing.
Andy and I had a tour. We did like 3,000 feet. Yes.
So she took some zingers at the network, which, when you get a comedian on New Year's Eve show, especially someone like Whitney Cummings, who's a bit of a shock comic, she's hilarious, she's interesting, she's funny. Obviously, there's going to be some shots at CNN, and it's kind of interesting that we don't see that anymore in comedy. Like, the last time I've seen anyone taking joke shots at Democrats and CNN and MSNBC, I think was during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where it was Michelle Wolf, and then immediately after that, they announced that they weren't doing comedians anymore. And then the recent one they get on, who's the guy from SNL, from Saturday Night Live, who said, Joe Biden's a decent man. My grandfather voted for decency. Because that's really, really the most hilarious thing you could hear from a guy like him. Decency from someone like Joe Biden. My grandfather voted for decency. That's what makes you a great man. Ugh. So, here's Whitney Cummings, because she only had a short period to tell all these jokes. And I guess there was a lot more that she had in store that they couldn't actually air on CNN. I don't know, for timing reasons or if it's too much for the network to handle. So she states, a joke I cut from CNN roast for time in the news mainstream media will never cover section. The Boy Scouts of America renamed itself Scouting America. You know who else changed its name? Sean P. Diddy Combs. How about you guys just get rid of the creeps? You're not getting sued because of your clunky name. You got rid of the boy part, so you molest girls now? Scouting America. What are you scouting for in America? Little boys? Naming Boy Scouts Scouting America would be like changing the title of school crossing guard to child trafficker. Pretty funny. Funny stuff. Here's another one. Another 2024 CNN joke I cut for time. Shania Twain's on the show tonight reminds me of this year's Paris Olympic theme, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Although more days it's, man, what is a woman? Because no one really knows. No one really knows, even to this day. And you can't even really say what it even is. Some people have theories, but can't really even say that. But you know who really took damage and really had a hard time with a comic on CNN? It wasn't CNN, it wasn't Anderson Cooper or Andy Cohen, but it was the Daily Beast. The Daily Beast had to do a hit piece on Whitney Cummings saying comedian's wild conspiracy-filled roast shocks CNN host during New Year's Eve show. Shocks them. You know, the way that Andy Cohen looks like, when you get served real cranberry sauce at a turkey dinner. That's the shock value of these jokes. The shock value that, oh my God, Whitney Cummings just presented news on CNN. That kind of shock value. So, they go on to say, CNN's New Year's Eve broadcast is renowned for its campy chaos, and for this year's show was no exception. From Ralph Fiennes's performing 2024's much viral Demure meme to the DJ Diplo confirming he was high while on air. But even with all that in mind, the night took an unexpected turn when comedian Whitney Cummings' conspiracy-filled roast of the year left host Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen speechless. I think after what I'm about to do, I'm probably going to be in a huddle with a bunch of lawyers, Cummings, the creator of Two Broke Girls, warned before set. Cummings began with jokes about the Menendez brothers, the WNBA, Hunter Biden, and how crypto is astrology for men lines, which garnered lines which garnered some laughs from Cooper and Cohen. Less amusing for Cooper, in particular, was a quip about CNN's tanking viewership, and it wasn't long before the pair who left alternating between moments of awkward laughter and stock shock. Yeah, I think it was less amusing for Anderson Cooper because they don't want to turn him into another Rachel Maddow saga where she drops from $30 million a year to $25 million a year, because that's shocking. Oh, God. What are these people going to do when they only have $25 million left to spare? They're down $5 million. Oh, the shock of that. Kamala was forced on us so bad you think she was patented by Pfizer, Cummings said in one particular pointed punchline before noting, "Oh no, Andy just gave me a scary look." Cummings finished her set by firing up some wacky conspiracy. So this is where the Daily Beast, which is a very, very, very established and run-of-the-mill organization, in bed with the Clintons. Chelsea Clinton was one of the editors there, so they're definitely in bed with protecting the status quo, and that's why they have to do this hit piece. Written by an intern, by the way. Just want to point that out. Go back to... This is written by an intern. Breaking news intern Grace Harrington. So not even a journalist who actually bothered to watch this. It was just an intern saying, hey, do a hit piece on Whitney Cummings. So Cummings finished her set by firing off some wacky conspiracy theories. Of course, there was a moment for drones. I mean, they're still up there in the sky, so I guess we can rule out that they weren't made by Boeing, as well as the dubious shoutouts to Disney funding, dead White House chefs, the Boy Scouts of America, and even Trump shooter Thomas Crook's missing silverware. Conspiracies. You mean the news stories that don't get investigated? Like the fact that there is White House chefs by former presidents that have committed suicide or drowned in an inch of water. What was the one I heard recently of the Clintons? There was something else too. None of these ever get investigated. That chefs, maids, helpers, the help of these political dynasties suddenly wipe off the map, and no one's the wiser. But they call it a conspiracy to try to debunk the comedian who's actually presenting more news in a 5-minute set than Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen have done in their entire careers, sadly. I can't believe you guys are still letting me go. This is amazing, she said as she finished. She later posted on X that she had sped through her last few lines because she was running out of time and scared. Cummings repeatedly during her monologue that she was worried that CNN would end the broadcast or cut away to safer content. Though it didn't happen. Her set wasn't included in CNN's New Year's Eve coverage highlight reel. I only understood half of the references, Anderson Cooper said in closing. Yes, what a great, fantastic, award-winning journalist Anderson Cooper doesn't understand any of the jokes that Whitney Cummings brought to the table, which are actually news stories. The drones, the disappearances of all these chefs. I don't understand any of that. I just read what a prompter tells me. So, Whitney Cummings fires back. This is the clapback she brings to the Daily Beast for that insidious hit smear jab from an intern. She says, Daily Beast, what did I say that's a conspiracy theorist? No response back. No response back from the Daily Beast. They cower. They hide in their fear after doing a blatant disregarded hit piece to try to smash down a comedian on New Year's Eve. Like, they might as well just said she was drunk. Maybe that would be more believable than saying she's a conspiracy nut. Just, it's such a blanketed disregard for that. But here, this is where it gets interesting, because Whitney Cummings, you saw in the first tweet that we showed, Whitney Cummings asked the audience what jokes they want to see on this New Year's Eve broadcast. Well, apparently there was a lot of jokes that didn't make it to the cut and didn't even make it to Twitter. And she posted this onto her social media page to tell viewers that, and listen to what she says here.
All right, tonight's the night, CNN New Year's Eve live. I'm going to be roasting the year 2024, and I'm already starting to worry that they're going to like cut the feed halfway through. They've been cool so far, but we will see. Just know that I'm supposed to do like 8 to 10 minutes. So if they, if my set is like less than 5, just know that I have been cut. I did delete the Scientology joke. I stayed away from Israel, Palestine. I had to say alleged for a couple things.
So this is her telling her audience that she was already kind of self-censoring before she got into CNN. She mentioned that she didn't do a Scientology joke, which I thought that's wild. Like 2025, we still can't talk about Scientology. After how many South Park episodes they've done on Scientology, how many skits they've done on comedy shows, how many times, how many actors have come forward dismissing Scientology. Leah Remini did that whole miniseries exposing the scam of Scientology. We still can't tell jokes about that? I guess maybe for her being Californian, maybe you want to keep, your momentum in Los Angeles. You can't do that. That's crazy. Scientology is still a no-no. I can understand the Israel-Palestine thing because that's a blatant Hollywood, red line there. You can't mention that at all if you want to still be working in Hollywood. That's the unfortunate part of the Zionist culture and the complete apex swarming into media, is that if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a comic star, if you want to succeed into the corporate world, they have taken over everything. So you got to bend the knee to stuff like that. You got to bend the knee and accept genocide. Some people have, managed to call it out and managed to say what is being said about the horrific genocide. And sadly, those people gave up their careers. They knew it was a bullet. They knew that they were going to be targeted if they said anything about Israel-Palestine. So, it's unfortunate that, she could say something about that, but I understand not saying Israel-Palestine. Scientology, though. Like, I'm just baffled. 2025, we still can't say anything about Scientology. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. That you still can't say that in 2025. So, Whitney Cummings, she did a very good set. She did a very good set for CNN broadcast, for really dishing it out. I applaud her for it. I applaud comedians to actually speak out. And especially when you're on a platform like that, obviously it's going to tick off the CNN viewing audience because they never heard any of this stuff before. They're just finding this out now, and they're, getting shocked and wild about Whitney Cummings going on stage, going on to New Year's Eve celebration with Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen to talk about dead chefs. What? It's going to be a shock for them because they don't know what's happening. But it's not shocking to people like us. It's not shocking to people like us. It's shocking, though, that they still have to do smear pieces like the Daily Beast did. That came from an intern. That wrote that ridiculous hit on Whitney Cummings for telling jokes on a New Year's Eve broadcast on CNN that was probably the most truthful, accurate information that the most of CNN covers. And probably the most probably the most inspiring to see on a New Year's Eve broadcast. You know, considering all the other stuff that was going on that day, it's interesting to see Whitney Cummings doing a comedy set that rocked the boat, if you will. Like I said, you didn't see much of that when you're watching the CBC broadcast here in Canada. It was a snooze fest. I put it on for like 5 minutes. I could have easily fell asleep. I don't know how anyone could watch it. But kudos to her. Kudos to her for bringing that to attention. Good job on that. Again, I find it so weird Scientology is still a no-no. In Israel-Palestine is understandable. Sadly, it is understandable because that's just the world that we're in right now. But Scientology, really? You had to cut the Scientology Act. Now it makes me wonder what the Scientology joke is. Maybe she'll release on X. I don't know. Maybe she'll have that for feature content.